Britain is in shock. The unthinkable has just happened. Keir Starmer, once hailed as the saviour of British politics, has been forced out by the very system he claimed to uphold. In a move unseen for centuries, the Supreme Court has ruled against the Prime Minister and the Crown has delivered its final warning. Crowds are roaring in the streets. Parliament is in chaos. And Downing Street, now the scene of the biggest political takedown in modern history. This isn't just a scandal, this is a constitutional earthquake. And what happens next could change Britain forever. It started like a rumble beneath the surface, quiet, subtle, but impossible to ignore. Whispers in Westminster, murmurs in the media, then boom, the gavel dropped. The UK Supreme Court, in a stunning and historic decision, declared that Keir Starmer, the man who once stood before the nation preaching transparency, justice and trust, had violated the very principles he swore to defend. In front of a live national audience, the highest judges in the land dropped a political nuclear bomb, accusing the Prime Minister of betraying the public and misleading the country on a scale never before seen. The court's language wasn't soft, it wasn't diplomatic, it was cold, sharp, brutal. No one, they said, not even the Prime Minister, is above the law. With those few words, Keir Starmer's carefully crafted image collapsed in real time. The man who entered number 10 on a platform of hope and redemption was now being stripped of legitimacy by the judiciary itself, and the British public, they didn't take long to respond. Within minutes of the verdict, the streets outside Westminster erupted into chaos. Not just protests, not just demonstrations, a full-blown national uprising, crowds flooded Parliament Square, barricades went up, chants of resign now, and justice for Britain, Britain echoed through London like thunder. Riot police scrambled to hold back a tidal wave of anger as citizens from all walks of life demanded accountability. This wasn't just a political scandal. This was a crisis of trust, of democracy, of the rule of law itself. And inside number 10, Keir Starmer locked the doors and refused to budge. He told his closest advisors, "I'm not leaving. Not tonight. Not ever." That one sentence, one man's refusal to step down after being condemned by the Supreme Court, ignited the most dangerous constitutional crisis Britain has faced in generations. Let's be clear, this wasn't some mild parliamentary disagreement. This wasn't political theatre. This was open defiance of the law. The man with the highest office in the country, the one who had once declared war on corruption, was now accused of corruption himself and refusing to obey the highest court in the land. The hypocrisy? Blinding. The arrogance? Unmatched. Starmer had built his career on attacking others for dishonesty, for secrecy, for shady backroom deals. And yet the court revealed a trail of undeclared donations, secret gifts, luxury perks, and suspicious financial activity that linked the Prime Minister directly to billionaire donors with their hands deep in public contracts. It started with £124,000. Then it grew and grew and grew. Private jets, designer suits, rare wines, shadowy wire transfers. The evidence painted a picture not of a public servant, but of a man enjoying the spoils of unchecked power. And as the public listened to the court's ruling, watched the images flash across their screens, and read the reports pouring in from investigators, rage boiled over. This wasn't just betrayal. This was a con. Pulled off by the very man who claimed to clean up British politics, the so-called champion of justice had become the very face of corruption. The Supreme Court's ruling wasn't just a judgment, it was a declaration of war between the institutions of law and the mere arrogance of power. It sent a signal that the game was over. The mask had slipped. The lies had caught up. But the Prime Minister, he chose to dig in. Rather than resign, rather than apologise, rather than face the consequences, Starmer turned to defiance. He accused the judges of bias. He claimed a political conspiracy. He said, and this is real, that he still held the people's mandate despite the entire country calling for his head. And that's where the real nightmare began. As Starmer clung to power like a king, refusing to leave his throne, the institutions of Britain began to fracture. Senior members of his own party split. Some begged him to step aside before things got worse. Others stood by him blindly, too afraid to go down with the ship. The opposition seized their moment, demanding an emergency election and branding Starmer a disgrace to the office on live television. Social media exploded with fury. Hashtags like hashtag Starmer out, hashtag justice for Britain, and hashtag no one is above the law trended globally within hours. While Downing Street became a bunker of denial and fury, and protesters turned Parliament Square into a war zone of smoke and fury, the one institution that had remained silent finally stirred.